What is an appraisal gap clause? If I'm buying a home, should I add one to my offer? Or if I'm selling my home, should I accept an offer with an appraisal gap clause? We're going to answer those questions, so stay tuned. If you find this video helpful, please like it and hit that subscribe button for more videos about real estate and living in Sarasota. The idea of an appraisal gap clause has been around for a long time in real estate, but it's not often been used. Just this morning, we put another home under contract in part because there was an appraisal gap clause. What is it? When a buyer makes an offer on a house and is financing the transaction, the mortgage lender requires an appraisal. Sometimes the lender's appraiser says the property is worth less than the buyer offered to pay. This is known as an appraisal gap or a low appraisal. When this happens, there are a few options. The buyer can bring additional funds to closing. The buyer and seller can renegotiate. If financing cannot be obtained or there is an appraisal contingency, the buyer may be able to walk away and receive their deposit back. Or another appraisal can be requested or another lender engaged. An appraisal gap clause addresses the first and second options. It specifies how much over the appraised amount a buyer is willing to bring to the table and what the seller agrees to do if the agreed upon price is still not met, even with the extra cash. For example, let's say Sally made an offer on Ben's house for $350,000. Her offer says she will pay up to $20,000 over the appraised price, but no more than the agreed upon price. If the home appraised at $330,000, she would need to bring $20,000 more to the closing table to make up the difference. However, if the appraisal came in at $300,000, the most she agrees to pay would be $320,000. What about the seller in that second case? The language of the appraisal gap clause should provide options for the buyer and seller to renegotiate if the agreed upon price cannot be met, even with the buyer's additional down payment. It should also allow the seller to cancel if they cannot come to a meeting of the minds. If you are buying a home, should you include an appraisal gap clause? It can be a great way to make a strong offer in a competitive market, but be aware that you may end up paying more than the appraised value. If you need to sell the home in the future and the current appraised value doesn't catch up to the price you paid, will you be okay with the possibility of selling it for less than you paid? How much does it mean to you to buy the house now? How about if you are selling your home? An appraisal gap clause can make an offer more attractive, but make sure you are covered so that you aren't obligated to sell the home at a lower price. In the example we just gave, make sure you aren't obligated to sell for $320,000. There you have it. An appraisal gap clause can be a useful tool in a highly competitive market. Just make sure you understand what you're signing up for and have your real estate attorney review it if you have any doubts. Thanks. Have a great day.